Why do I always forget this? Precedence. Okay, that seems to be correct. This is evaluated before the question mark. Guess we'll just have to walk over it in the same order here. This does not exist anymore. Hello. Dimas, right? You lost your 17. Or was it someone else who had 17 in their nickname? Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll just start copying this. Run over it in the same order. Well, we do pushbacks. So in the order that we are running over things here in the middle in the middle for loop, that's how we get them out. So this is then corresponding to the layout. So we're adding here in the same order, which means that they correspond to the same n and the same frame index. And what I want to do is do something like this. Descriptor sets. Not easy. Not easy. The frame resource is in the middle. Yeah. And here is what I guess this is what I want, right? I'm returning this like that. Oh yeah, of course. What I return is a vector of FrameResourceCapableDescriptorSets. So that must be in the same order as the vector that I pass in here, and this one, and this one. Yeah, I'm going to do it with pushbacks, not an index. Push back something. And then what I have to push back here, so might as well to place back again. Still. And then need a constructor of this type. And I want to fill it with something that I read from well, actually I'm reading it from a raw descriptor set. Or not. Damn it, man, I'm confused. Returning descriptor sets. Oh, this is what I did. This is what I did. Looks like it's still the same thing then. More or less. Might as well delete this. Keep the old code. Except that what I want then is hello Super Omega. Is it now working or not? Me? No. When they started with the campaign, I was like, what? That feels not correct. They were lying too much about all kinds of things and being clearly trying to manipulate people into it. They wanted it too much. So I thought, well, I'm gonna wait and see. Yeah, and by now I'm happy that I waited, because slowly my opinion changed from maybe they want something good for the people to it just was a big fucking political game. So I'm not playing along with my health. So I have here, we're filling it here. I'm running over all the descriptor set layouts that were being passed, and then for each we see if it is something that has to support frame resources. If not, just do this once. We push back the layout once, and otherwise we push it back a number of frame resources times. Which is then being used here, so we get them back in the same order with the descriptor set layout loop at the outside. So I'm doing that again here. And now I'm just talking about an index. Why exactly? Because it doesn't really matter. Now here I'm using n as the index over that thing, so let's just use n again. N is less than that size, okay, so we run over it, and then I'm storing again number of frame resources, or 1 in NFRS, which obviously stands for number of frame resources. And then we place back the results rather. In FRS is a size type now, so I can delete this. And then we advance the raw descriptor set pointer. Yeah, it feels like this works, except that I cannot remember having added a constructor for this, for these iterators here. Thought it's kind of strange that it compiled then. Because I'm pretty sure it already compiled. Oh, I did. Here it is. Begin and end. Yep. As a const iterator. Oh well. Okay. Still, now we have to fix this, because I don't think this works. I don't think this still works. Right, so this must be is frame resource. And then we just have one index apparently. Or I'll rather not. I think so. And this is not working then. Well, I have to run over all the descriptor sets for sure. And then let's say either I do this or do the other one. Depending on is frame resource again. Using n again. Also using n. Let's use n again. It even rhymes, so how can it be wrong? Shall I do an fi? Get there eventually. This is again a not. So if it's not a frame resource, I just cast it to VK descriptor set, and we just use it as debug name set equals the set index that belongs to n, and otherwise yeah, we actually use frame index and also use frame index here. And lastly, I'll just change this again in this. Error, no match for operator less than. Ah, damn it. I'm an idiot, as usual. Actually, just it doesn't even exist. Dear Father, hello. Expected colon before I think I'm somewhere else with my thoughts. There are no matching function called to. Suppose that means we called through the function that I just changed. And now I'm having to. I should be adding, missing descriptor sets. That should be that one. It's no 4 set index before set indexes. So yeah, just here. Let's add is frame resource. Which then must be passed to this function. Yep, and now we have to call it with that thing, as in guess is frame resource here and here. Right, and we have to allocate that. And then lastly we have to fill it. I have a pushback here, that's about it. Yeah. So at this point I need to do a is frame resource pushback with a boolean that says if the current or the associated, or what the hell are we talking about, needs is a shader resource. Is a frame is a frame resource. Damn it! I'm kind of confused to need that here. No, don't tell me. Shit. You gotta be kidding me. This is ridiculous. Ah man, this makes me depressed. It's not working. file that I want to be in, or what? I don't know. Yeah, I'm GUI's warning. Well, I'm not even done with the implementation of the other thing. Can already fix it or not. I guess I just have to pass a vector of false single element. Set layout. Yeah, probably something like this. False. Yeah. Error, use of deleted functions and the vector data, what? Not allowed to use data in a vector bool. Ridiculous. Yeah. Maybe I should. Is there not a way to test if data exists? Getting lazy here, I think. Bool. Make it work. Yeah, I don't know. Let's just run over everything. All of them, I mean. Bool B in V. Alpha bool or bool alpha? I have no clue. Well, we'll see, I guess. I think the other way around. My first feeling. Okay, now we want to print, well, the boolean, and then we're done, except I want to have a prefix in front of it. Set the prefix to a comma after one thing, character const pointer prefix is empty. Alpha bool is not a member of. Well, is it a missing header or is it bool alpha? What do you think? Okay. Validation error in function, nobody knows. That's a bug in itself, isn't it? Why is there no function here? Set layouts must be a valid pointer to an array of description set count valid VK descriptor set layout handles. Definitely still fucked up the code. Totally. Why is it printing F2 here? Are you going to tell me that frame resource indexes are printed as F? I mean, the value is 2, so it prints F2, as if I would not get confused with hexadecimal. At the very least, add a hashtag font width then. ToString, okay. So maybe I have a toString for frame resource index. Yeah, it uses an F. Well, it doesn't do anything yet. Doesn't do anything. F. What shall I use here instead of F? I would almost use an UTF-8 character. And I have to change this to U8 string, and then I'm gonna need everything is going to need suddenly to become U8. So yeah, no, let's just make it something else. But what? But it has to be ASCII. What about F? Frame resource index, ending with a hash. I think it's slightly more clear, and I can get rid of the fry that I added here, because apparently it's already printing it in a way that I can recognize what it is. There's another fry, but then with an equal sign. And I guess I don't need the set either anymore, because it's going to be trivial. Then that's the other one without the F. Yeah. Okay, why do I get this validation error? Well, I wish I just knew, but since I don't, I'll have to debug it, right? So to run it in the debugger, that's what we are going to do. This is UBT, which UBT, DDB. So I was looking at my environment today, and then I saw a run in GDB. I think it was. Yeah, no. Set grab GDB. Run in GDB. Yeah, here. Does that work? Efforts, no, UBT. Ah, it works. Awesome, isn't it? Okay, there we are with our validation error, and the function that we are being called from is allocate descriptor sets. In particular, we're calling allocate descriptor sets with this as info. And the set is 6. That's 1 plus 5, I bet. And then apparently this p sets is still nonsense, just like before. P sets, yeah. Okay, so we're going to print p set layouts to check if that is indeed the case. That looks like a handle, and then 1 looks like the same handle, 2 is a different handle. That's strange. 3, 4, 5. Oh, what is this? Okay, so we have, yeah, not everything that we would have or should have, rather. Why on earth do I have? I think it is barfing on the letter, this one, because handles in Vulkan look like something like this with a lot of zeros and then something. not this. But what I also do not get is that it is a strange one in the middle here. So we'll have to look at how this thing is being filled. Let's have a look there. Oh, not that one. It's the pset layouts. How is the pset layouts being filled? And yes, I was thinking that the number of frame resources is 5, but in this application it is 2. So we get 6 because it is 2 times 3. So I'll really have to look at it differently. The first two are say multiplied by 2, so they have twice the same, and then one that does not need support, and then 2 more that do need support, and then 1 more that does not need support. That would be possible. So in pairs of 1, either 1 or 2. And that then is not equal to 2 times 3. That doesn't make any sense, 2 times 3. Yeah, this is wrong here. Cannot just multiply that. Well, we found one bug. Might as well fix it and then see what happens then. So the actual number of allocators that I need is descriptor set count. Let's call this just like the other one, descriptor set count, by the same name. This was pset. I don't see that. I do not see the definition of that thing. I'm probably blind. Totally. Oh, it's highlighted. I was looking over it because it was highlighted. Let me add something in front of it. There must be an uint32 type, and this one is called. For that, we initialize it to 0, and then inside these for loops I am adding all the layouts, so I might as well increment the count. Yeah, be sure to watch it completely. I mean, if you already agree, you might finish watching it, but it's still, of course, especially interesting for people who still believe the government, basically, the goodwill. And then I think they start maybe watching the documentary, and then after 2 minutes they are like emotional and stop watching. But I think you should leave emotions out of it and just, you know, watch one of these things for once. And then make up your own mind and not get all emotional and not get any information. There have been loads of very professional documentaries, interviews of professors, scientists. There's even a complete lobby at the moment of, I think, 70 plus doctors that all work together to try to stop further vaccination. It's just bad. It's just bad for all of humanity. They should stop with it immediately. And you see nothing of that back in the mainstream media. That's really frightening. You have to look for it yourself. Yeah, apparently. I mean, I think that there's probably two main reasons that I'm kind of convinced that there is this conspiracy theory, because that's definitely how it sounds, that your government is not telling the truth. And I believe that the reason in my case is, well, one, I'm sorry that I say so, but I have a pretty high intelligence, and two, also very important, I don't have a television, which actually also has to do with the high intelligence. I think television kills your mind. It's pure waste of time, and it's much, much, much better to not have a television. Much better. Most people they don't put in effort into doing research on the internet. They just sit in their lazy chair and they watch the mainstream media telling them the news, which is exactly the same. Right? Whichever broadcaster, journalist, even which country you're in, doesn't make any sense. Doesn't matter anymore. There's just one guy writing it, apparently, and then everybody is just broadcasting it. And in this very documentary, you can also see that a lot of doctors believed it. The doctors watch TV and they say, well, okay, if they say so, I guess that's how it is. There is a definite problem once a government starts to lie. If they do that, I mean, okay, you have to be open to that possibility. But I learned that our government, and I live in the Netherlands, is not even that strange a country, is lying. I learned that long before COVID. The prime minister that we have, oh my God, this guy is dead. When he opens his mouth, lies come out. And every time he's caught, he just smiles it away and waits a few weeks, and people have forgotten it again. And he just continues and continues and continues and continues. There's no democracy anymore. There's nothing we can do about it. The only thing I think that you can do is think about your own bloodstream, your own health. Do you want to have these injections just because they are, I don't know, rolling out some kind of master plan to instate a world government, basically? I'm not even against that, actually. I think it's good for humanity if we get a world government. If it stops a world war in the end, people need to be controlled. We are having too many people. So we need a government that can say to everyone in the world, you are not allowed to get more than 2 children. Now that means you must control the people even more than, like in China. And that's what we're getting everywhere. China all over the world. And I'm not even against it, like I said, because I think that if the masses are so stupid, if you don't do anything, they'll just keep on getting children, and the population will grow and grow and grow and grow until there is really no food anymore, because now they're kind of faking it, basically. But at some point, there are so many people, we will not have food anymore. And then you'll get probably indeed a world war over it. So I'm all for getting a control over the population and a world government. But I'm not going to let myself be injected with this mRNA shit. They'll have to make something else up. I don't know. I still don't know why they want it. I think first I thought they wanted to get this QR pass and then turn the QR pass into a digital ID. We're definitely going to get the digital ID. And then digital ID is also necessary for the social crediting system, which is necessary to keep people, under the thumb, you know, like, there's a video on it. I can find a video for it if you want to look at that. I didn't even watch it myself, I have to admit, but it's made by this Coin Bureau guy, and he's a super smart team, super smart guy. Coin Bureau on YouTube. Which one is it? 1 day ago, 2 days ago. Let's just look at the channel. Coin Bureau. This one, I guess. So I did not watch this one, but this is about the social crediting score thing that is coming. You can watch that as well if you want, but there is so much to watch. In the beginning, everything was suppressed, but recently YouTube is much less, you know, alert, or they just let it slide. I don't know what is the reason, but there's lots of stuff. This guy also is also giving good ideas. This is a very good one. Real life lore. He's showing, what's going on in the world as well. Mostly concentrating on wars. So the war in the Ukraine is apparently about power, not even money, I think. Power and maybe minerals. So exactly in the part where Russia is now occupying, they have $7.5 trillion worth of all kinds of minerals in the ground. And Europe wanted to have that because they need it in order to do the Green Deal. So build wind molens, how do you say that? Windmills and solar panels and stuff like that. You need a lot of raw materials for that. And that's why they wanted to have Ukraine as part of the, one of the reasons they want to have Ukraine as part of the AU. And that's also the reason I think that Putin doesn't want that. One of the many reasons, probably. What you see in the news, for reasons why people do things, that's all a lie. It's all propaganda. It's nothing to do with the reality. But if you watch, things like this, the real life lore, that's pretty accurate. It's really good to watch that and then get an idea of why this war is, and who wants the war and who benefits from the war, etc. Yep. Well, I'm quite serious that I'm not against the whole globalization movement. I would say if I was living in America, I would probably be a Republican, but I'm not really that opposed to all the ideas of the Democrats. I don't think they're idiots and emotional and stuff like that. Most people that are following this train are just stupid. They are literally sheep following something, convinced that it is, it's like a religion for most people, it seems. They don't really think about it. But okay, if the result is a world government, I'm not against it. I'm willing to suffer even. I've lost the money already because of this, a lot of money. And if I lose a lot more money, well, okay. As long as it prevents world war and overpopulation in the future, then it's okay with me. I'm just not going to let myself inject with this mRNA stuff for reasons they don't want to tell me. And now of course I forgot what I was doing here. Yeah, they did fix this. Except I didn't fix it. Now it's fixed. And then I can just try it again, I guess. I'm sure that at least 5 more bugs, at least. Okay, let's run it again. UBT, crash again. Yeah, I just talked about that half an hour or so tank. So if you watch it completely and then form your opinion, okay? Don't turn it off after 2 minutes or something like that. That's all I'll say about it. Why would this not be true? I need to run it in the debugger again then. Run in TDB, UBT. Run it. Crash on the assertion. Okay. No, not really. Yeah, so calling the square bracket operator should only be done when we have multiple descriptor sets, even though index is probably 0, because that's what it starts with anyway, always. However, this is from code that is a uniform buffer. What I'm working on right now is trying to get it to compile again. Now I'm working on, step back, working on supporting frame resources for uniform buffers. think I understand what's going on here. Well, this is a call on logical device, update descriptor set, and that is really updating just a single descriptor set. And that is also what it should do, I think. Yeah, well, okay, this singular set here is on the assumption that the FrameResourceCapableDescriptorSet is singular, but in reality we have more than one, and I'm just calling in a loop this function, and I want to pass the descriptor sets one by one. Now I'm going to call, no, I'm calling square bracket operator. That's not automatic conversion, is it? That's just this. Only use automatic conversion. That's exactly not what I'm doing. Huh? Yeah, okay. So one per frame resource, aka we must have more than one frame resource. And then we are allowed to call this. So apparently that was not the case. I better run the debugger again. Still in the debugger. There's one down, right? So yeah, this we are calling this, and then we enter operator square bracket. Yes, and then that says that this descriptor set thing has only one, a size of 1. Right. Right. Okay, so we are, this is wrong indeed. So we are inside a uniform buffer function, update descriptor set. And we are passing a descriptor set that has only a single descriptor set in it. Well, it should have two. So that is wrong. Now, where does this thing come from then? Because it's just being passed to it. 1, 2, 3 is the third argument. Go up. That doesn't look like the third argument. Looks like the second argument here. Although this pointer is shown here as well. So this is the first argument, the second argument, right? So this thing has only one descriptor. But the shader resource is a uniform buffer. This thing is a vector of vectors. The first vector is a length of 3. And I guess the next vector has a length of 2. No, it's not right. This is a vector of 3. And then it is a vector of vectors, and the first vector is has a length of 1. And the second one has a length of 2. And then the third one has also a length of 2. Okay, so then the question is, why does the first one has a length of 1? Nah, did you watch it completely? The problem I have with it is that there are many people that are whose life is destroyed or who die, and nobody's helping them, and everyone is trying to silence it, and no research is being done. It's just a fact. There are thousands of people completely invalidated or having died because of this vaccination. And nobody wants to talk about it. At least not the mainstream media, not the governments, not even doctors. And I don't, that's what I don't like about it. If they would say, yes, this is a side effect and it happens 1 every 100,000 cases, and the reason is this or that because we researched it, but we're still continuing with, vaccination I mean, there is more in the documentation. Also, for example, that it's really clearly proven by now that it doesn't help. The vaccination doesn't stop the virus. You still get it and you still spread it. It's really a personal choice. If you think, if you inform yourself well and you think, well, the risk for death or losing a leg or whatever they showed is small, and I will feel better protected. Okay, but You're pretty stupid if you do that under 70, if you ask me. And what is the government doing? They want to force children, age of 5 and up, or even younger, I think. They're trying to talk parents into vaccinating their young children who absolutely run no risk whatsoever from COVID. But they do run a very high risk because of vaccination. It's especially the young people that get these adverse effects, like problem with their heart and stuff. No, for me it is any good health argument. I'm completely open for it. And if you say, we should treat cancer because with radiation, because cancer is worse than the radiation, then I say yes, of course. But then you have a medical argument. But the whole point is that this has nothing to do with health. This is pure political. And then it's a bit sad that you lie against the masses. And that some people, and over the whole world, that's thousands of people, get seriously harmed. And then nobody even wants to listen to it because, the government doesn't want to hear about it, because if it comes out that they knew that it is harmful, and or that the harm even happens and they admit it, then I don't know, maybe their political plan will go wrong or something like that. That's why they don't want it. Yeah, that's the story they give, but it turns out it's not true. The people who are vaccinated, and you have to be vaccinated every 6 months at least, otherwise the effect is completely worn off after half a year. And every time you run a larger risk to get some kind of very serious side effect. So, I mean, one time I would say, well, maybe worth the risk, but twice a year or more often, that's ridiculous. Never, ever, ever. But I guess people will continue, and more people will die, and eventually the truth will prevail. So do whatever you want with your own body. It's your body. But don't let your children be vaccinated. That's a crime in my eyes. You have a say about your own body, but not about the body of your children. You only make them... There is enough evidence right now that is a risk. Especially for young children or teenagers. I mean, I'm 58. I'm still, even I'm not really running any risk for COVID. You need to be 80 plus before you can start to be worried. But it was the same for any serious flu anyway. Okay, it's more serious than the serious flu maybe, but. I don't know, man. My parents are 86. My mother has a very weak health. She is also diabetes. And they did get vaccinated several times. And I have never protested. Because I think at their age is probably warranted. I'm starting to... think a little bit different now. If they already had 4 injections and they're going to continue with that with 5 and 6 and etc., then Yeah, and yeah, at some point you just have to stop. But I visit my parents every week, sit there a few hours, and I am unvaccinated. I'm not worried about it at all. And I didn't get sick, of course. If I have a fever, I don't go. It's just a stupid hype. They just want people to be scared. There's also many proof about that, you know. They're just rolling out all. I mean, the loads of leaks say that they found about how they prepared manipulating the population. How do we make our population as scared as possible so that they will get the vaccine? And then probably the reason behind that is because they they thought it was important for the health of the whole population, but still they never told the truth. The only thing they wanted was that people got really scared, and it was not really possible to get that by telling the truth. So they just kept telling the people all kinds of things to make them more and more scared and more scared. So they would get this vaccine. And on the other side, they would tell you lies about how safe it is. It's absolutely safe. Absolutely nothing can go wrong. And it will help. And, you know, if you don't do it, you are a monster and an idiot, and you cause the old people to die. You're really, that's all kinds of, that's lies. There's no reason in that whatsoever. They put the dial completely to one side and then went with that. But no reasonable arguments, no facts. I'm sorry, Brian. Is there any reason to believe that it was caused by this vaccination? Typical things are problems with the heart, infection of the heart, and blood clot if you take AstraZeneca. You can all kinds of how do you call that? Your blood clot in your brain. You get paralyzed here and there and stuff like that. Okay, let's stop talking about politics and do some C++. Yeah, the heart attack. Yeah. Did they do an autopsy to find out why he had a heart attack? Recently, I read somewhere that there was also a pretty old guy, and he died, and then the family wanted an autopsy because they were suspicious. And this guy never had COVID, and they could prove that because they could not find any DNA or RNA, what is it in that case, pieces of COVID, except the spike, what is eiwit in English? The poison that the vaccination causes you to create the poisonous spike something. I don't know what the word is. And that's what he had in his brain, in his heart, which is completely contrary to what the so-called experts that the government shove in front of the TV camera say. And they say that it doesn't get even in the bloodstream. The vaccine and the whole thing should be local to your arm and stay there. And clearly, yeah, spike protein. Clearly that is not happening. Absolutely not happening. great amounts of people get problems with the heart. Just, I don't know the medical word anymore. What is it? Myocarditis or something like that. So inflammation of the heart muscle, especially young people, especially healthy people. There's a great many sportsmen in sports, Olympics, runners, soccer players that had to stop due to heart problems. Way more than pre-COVID or pre-vaccine. I mean, I should say, it only started when the vaccination was rolled out. But we were going to stop about talking. Sorry. It's almost time to make dinner. Let's try to debug something more. Oh, we can talk about quantum mechanics. I love that. I have my own ideas about that as well. In fact, though, I did physics. When I got quantum mechanics in university, at some point they told me about this wave function collapse at the moment you did a measurement. So, of course, I asked then, what is a measurement? Yeah, that's when a human gets involved and, reads out. That was that long ago it was. It was a bit vague and I didn't really know it, but in the end it was basically about, a human or the scientist actually reading out the measurement. And I stopped listening. I mean, that was such nonsense. I couldn't believe it. That's not happening, I thought. And they can't even define measurement. Now, in the meantime, they changed it a bit more to even the measuring apparatus, the instrument that is measuring it. As soon as it becomes a little bit macroscopic, it has been measured. And that's a measurement. But then, of course, the question is, but then when, the detection begins with a single molecule and that influences the next molecules and then more and more and more, and then slowly it becomes macroscopic. And in the end, it reaches the brain of a scientist. So where exactly is it a measurement? When exactly does this wave function collapse? And still cannot answer it. I thought about that my whole life, and I think a year or 5 ago, I finally figured out the solution. I mean, it came down to when I wrote my quantum computer simulator. It should be here somewhere. Let's see. I had already convinced myself about the many worlds theory, many worlds explanation, which I invented myself and then figured out that it already existed. But at some point I followed, so I went to IBM for a course with their stuff. And then I wrote a C++ program that you can use to simulate quantum gates. And while writing that code, I tried to put in my ideas, and it turns out to be mathematically exactly the same. Entanglement and measurement is exactly the same thing, literally in code. So I wrote this for this quantum computer simulator. This implementation does not collapse the wave function. This is important to me because I don't believe in wave function collapses. That only appears to be the case when you yourself get entangled with the quantum superposition that you try to measure. So measurement means that you become entangled with whatever entangled quantum system you try to measure. You can talk about entanglement. Sorry, you can talk about superposition as long as the system that you talk about is isolated from your own system. So when it's completely isolated, then it doesn't influence each other. And then from my perspective, from my reality, the isolated system, like for example the internals of a of a quantum computer, seem to be in a superposition state. Well, as soon as you do a measurement, that system is no longer isolated, so it becomes one with yourself, and then you only see one aspect of it. But there is no wave function collapse. It's just more entanglement. What they wrote only appears to be the case when you yourself get entangled with the quantum superposition that you try to measure. Therefore, you can continue to put more gates after a measurement as well. The state was not changed. It was, however, entangled with the measured classical bit. As a result, you do not need any shots, run the circuit many times to get approximate statistics. The statistics on chance of the measurements are simply calculated in parallel using the normal quantum computer power of doing things in parallel. But you have to look at the code to see what I mean. It is really a measurement. The measurement. So you have an example. This is just C++, so the minus here is just operator minus. But I'm using it more like a connection line here. It's kind of abuse of the C++ syntax. But this measurement is implemented with the same code as other entanglement stuff. So then I knew measurement is entanglement, and that's the answer to the question that I asked, 30 years before that. But they couldn't answer. So when I asked my professor what is measurement, he should have said, that means that you get entangled with whatever you try to measure. But yeah, that means that reality splits. And most people just don't like that idea, apparently. But after I figured this out, I could Google it. So that was funny. Really, I thought about this at least 30 years. And then I found out, okay, measurement is, and there it is. I don't even have to finish it. Measurement is quantum entanglement. Okay, click on it. And then you get on the Wikipedia, measurement and quantum mechanics. Quantum entanglement is quantum, oh, that's a question. I would say yes, but okay. Yeah, quantum measurements are entanglement. YouTube's. So I was happy, actually, when I saw that this was already discovered by humanity, and it was not on my shoulders to convince people. The only thing I want is progress for humanity. So when I find something out like that, and I think, and nobody would have been talking about it at all, I would have felt really sad about that. And then that's a burden. But as soon as I could type the sentence, measurement is entanglement, I found immediately that it was already something that people talk about and loads of people believe in and stuff. So then I let it rest. How to stop annoying YouTube bots from spamming everyone. Yeah, I was reading that. In the meantime, I'm not making any progress with my program. And hey, Redsin is back. Hello. How's university going? I had, while even before I wrote this quantum computer thing, by the way, I had interesting theories, so thought of by myself, which I probably should not tell because some people might be completely crazy. But the idea is as follows. If you believe that if you go to the casino and you play roulette, and you believe that the quantum mechanics is at the core of the randomness of a roulette table, then, and that very well could be, because, you know, the jumping of this ball, with atoms touching each other, I can imagine that it's not determined in advance, but it is quantum mechanically probability. And that means that when you run the roulette table, that every possibility is going to happen. You're just aware of only one of them. So a way to get rich very fast, and I mean the person that is hearing this now, you, can get very rich as follows. You go to the casino, put all your money on red. If it gets red, you have it doubled. If it is black, you shoot yourself through the head. If every possibility just happens and the reality splits, then the you that is now listening to it and that will go to the casino and do this will live with twice the money that you had before in the world where it comes on red. And then you can just repeat that. You do that over and over and over again until the casino throws you out because you don't believe it anymore. It should work. And then now you can ask me, you know, why didn't you do that? Well, I don't have a job, do I? No, I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. I did go to the casino, and I did convince myself that I would be able to influence the outcome by switching to a different reality, but that was just play, I think. In the end, I have never left the casino without making a gain. So I never had any loss in a single day. And I stopped when I had a chance of 1 in 100 that the gain that I made, I made. I cannot explain that otherwise than that I was just extremely lucky. And rationally spoken, that's definitely the only explanation. So I don't feel like going back and try it again. I can only lose the money that I did win. On average, you lose what is it, 1/37th per roll of the ball. I don't know what that is, but it sounds exactly what I meant. No, I don't know what it is really. Immortality is something else. You will still die. I mean, it must be, you know, within reason. It's, according to quantum mechanics, it would be possible that I don't know, a broken egg would suddenly reassemble itself. But then you're talking about probabilities that are so unfathomable small that I don't want to take them into account. That's ridiculous. It's really unfathomable small. It's not going to happen. Then you might as well believe in the Boltzmann brains. No, that's not what I said. If you shoot yourself in this universe, then you do so based on a quantum outcome. You do a measurement, And then as a result of that measurement, you shoot yourself or you don't. So the problem here is, of course, that if you go to the casino and you put all your money on red and you lose it, at that moment, you are in the universe where you will have to shoot yourself to do whatever you wanted to do, namely kill yourself as soon as you lose. But then that is you. You have lost. And at that moment, you will refuse to kill yourself, of course. You just lost all your money, but you're going to say, yeah, I'm not going to kill myself. So it's just not working. There is a movie, however, where someone took that decision out of his own hands. He had a gun mounted to a machine and put his head against it, and then he let the machine do a quantum measurement and then fired the gun or not. So he never knew if he lost or not. But every time he ran the machine, he noticed that the machine had measured, don't shoot. So every time he did that again and again, the chance became smaller and smaller that this would happen, but he would never know when it was not happening, because then he would be dead. And in that movie, they had an interesting twist to it. He became kind of immortal indeed, because he had cheated probability so often. It was so extremely unlikely that he was still alive in that one universe where he finally was still alive, that it, say, propagated to, he could not even die anymore. The probability was always on his side to keep him alive, something like that. So I cannot remember it exactly. But I think it's, I can't remember the title of the movie. But it's an interesting movie. No, I don't believe in Boltzmann brains. I think I learned about Boltzmann brains through YouTube, and I also saw YouTube where they disproved it at some point. And my personal belief is also that it is actually less likely than a Big Bang with just a very, very low entropy. I don't know what the reason is that the entropy was so low in the beginning of the universe, but there must be some reason for it that is a lot more plausible than a Boltzmann brain. So I'm going to go with that. And then I mean a lot. Again, infinitesimally much. And that means that you just can completely ignore the fact that Boltzmann brains could theoretically exist. Now, on this subject anyway, I did other interesting things. When I was 18, I'll tell the story. When I was 18, my brother came home. He was 2 years old, so he was 20. And he was telling me and my dad a story that he was very enthusiastic about. I don't know exactly where he heard it, maybe also in university. At that age, I guess that's possible. And the story was this race between whatever Greek philosopher it was and a turtle. What's the name of this guy? Did you know the story? Race turtle. Turtle in the hair. No, it's a philosopher, Aristotle or something like that. I don't know. So the story goes like, well, some kind of Greek philosopher does a is it called a tortoise? I'll call it a turtle. A race between, yeah, the distance is halved, right? So he gets, the turtle gets half, well, it's this story, I guess. In this case, it's not a philosopher, but it's a hare, but the story is the same. The hare, of course, goes faster than the turtle. But they say at the moment that the hare is coming at the place where the turtle is now, the turtle will be further, etc., etc. But anyway, he was telling that, and while he was telling it, he was enthusiastic. And my father was also enthusiastic. For right, well, how is this possible? Yeah, indeed, it seems, it cannot be true, but it seems like he will indeed never overtake the turtle. Wow. And I was like, huh? Why are they so enthusiastic about this? It's obvious what is happening. What is happening is that the time in the story is going slower and slower. So the time the time in the story progresses slower and slower and slower and slower. So relative to the time in which you tell the story, so that you never reach the point in time where he overtakes it by telling the story like that. And immediately I thought, hey, that's actually sounds a lot like why we cannot go faster than the speed of light. Because I knew that if you have astronauts in a spacecraft, and the spacecraft is going faster and faster, and you look at them from Earth, then you see the astronauts stop moving and their watches stop running because the time on the spaceship stops relative to you. So why are the astronauts not going faster than the speed of light? Because they never, in their time, they never reach the point where they cross the speed of light. From our position, seen from our position on Earth, the astronauts' time stops before they reach the speed of light, before they cross the speed of light. I saw a complete parallel with this story, and how the time in the story goes slower and slower. So I took that idea, and then I thought, okay, that was long ago, like, it was 40 years ago, I was 18, and I only know the conclusion. I did just a few assumptions with middle school math and formulas that I picked up here and there, like how this slows down, time dilation, and then with that I was able to derive how time slows down under gravity, simply by doing a thought experiment where you drop some mass to another mass, a much larger mass. Well, my conclusion was that the speed of light is not constant. And it's like it should differ in the 12th digit, I think, I cannot remember exactly, on the surface of Earth or in deep space. That's what I calculated, and I dismissed the whole idea. I just calculated this on a piece of paper, in an afternoon, and I dismissed it as being, I don't know. I didn't believe I would be that smart. So. But at some point, I was watching a documentary on television about measurements they did with atom clocks, and they had atom clocks in high in the stratosphere and an atom clock on the ground, and the results were shown on television, so I could compare that. And that was matching my prediction. So, I mean, even if I was not even wrong a factor of 10, but it was more accurate than that, I think. But it was just like, wow, that's impossible. You know, maybe there is some truth in the calculations that I did. And then much later, when I did physics, I went to at some point to a professor and I explained it to him, my ideas, and he didn't say, "Oh, how smart that you did that on your own." No, he said, "Yeah, that's called the Minkowski space, and they keep the speed of light constant, but they change the speed of time." And he wasn't impressed at all, so I dismissed it again. I didn't ever do anything with it. Stupid bots are floating your text away. I'm not really following what you're saying, Brian. Your space is compressed between 2 points. Even is only a meter, okay, by meter, I guess, but even is, and the vehicle and the vehicle, which vehicle? So scroll up. Did you talk about a vehicle? No, you didn't. Attached to the far point, far point. Then space decompressed, and or no, it's just not English. Sorry, I cannot make anything of it. Well, I don't know. My objection against that you cannot travel faster than light is that you can travel faster than light in the sense that you can, if you can do arbitrary accelerations, you can go to any distance that you want in any short time you want. Say we're now on Earth and we want to go to a star 100 light years away. But I do not live 100 years, so I want to be there in 10 years, and then I can get there in 10 years. 10 of my years. It's going to take 100 years from the point of view of people on Earth, but my time will stop. And if people on Earth look at me, they see me not age while I fly those 100 light years in 100 years. And I'm only 10 years older by the time I get there. And from my perspective, that works it will look as if the space is contracting. So you just go faster and faster and faster, and at some point, the distance that you have to travel is only 10 light years. Because the distance is contracting. And then it takes 10 years to get there. It's not really practical because the accelerations that you need to go through are so huge that nothing can survive that. But it's not impossible, basically. If you can think of something that your body can withstand very high accelerations, then you can go to far away stars and still live when you get there. So the speed limit is only relative. If you look at it just from your own point of view, you see 100 light years and you accelerate, you decelerate, and you're there. So did you go faster than the speed of light? Well, I would say yes, because it just Took a short time. You went 100 light years in a short time. Shorter than 100 years. I guess I just should stop the stream because there is no C++ going on. And it's also time to eat. Yeah, that's nonsense what you say now, of course. Oh wait, maybe I didn't read it right. Let me see. Suppose you have a telescope at 45-degree angle. Relative to what? I'm gonna guess 45-degree angle relative to the x-axis. Moving along the x-axis at a velocity of c. Let's say near c, because if you go at c, then your telescope cannot have any mass. And light enters the top of the telescope perpendicular to the scope. Perpendicular, you travel along the x-axis. I would say that enters the scope also under an angle of 45 degrees then. So I'm assuming that the light is going parallel to the x-axis and you enter the scope under a 45-degree angle. Then light would go c times square root 2. Well, that's definitely nonsense. Light always goes at the speed of light. Okay, thank you, Daylime. Yeah, there wasn't much C++ going on now. Okay, I'm stopping reading this chat. That will help for now. So it was interesting, but I just want to do something here in this window. Cannot see the chat. Cannot I cannot see the chat. Okay, what was I doing here? Gonna run it from the beginning. Okay, so the size equals 1, which is very suspicious. So set index number 0 got assigned a frame resource capable descriptor set with a size of 1. Why? It should not be possible. Seriously. So this is in the case of a new descriptor set, which means that it was just allocated, which means it was filled here. And with a bit of luck, I still should have the missing descriptor sets here that are used to assign there. And indeed, that has length of 3 and the first one is a length of 1. You can also just print the first one. So why does that has a size 1, length 1, missing descriptor sets? This was assigned by allocate descriptor sets. So that would happen if is frame resource 0 is false. And it is false. Yet, we are having a shader resource here that is a uniform buffer for I equals 1 as expected, I must say. Ah, okay, I'm getting it. Yeah. The problem is I'm setting, I'm pushing this back here as frame resource, and I'm pushing back false because I never got to see the second shader resource. So the first shader resource is a texture, and the texture is not a frame resource, so we did not assign true. Then I find that the texture does not have a descriptor set already, and therefore we immediately break out of it. Let's see what that happens. I think this break here. So we never got to see the other one, and therefore I don't know that this is a descriptor set that also has a uniform buffer. I think that this is the break. There must be a break anyway. So how many breaks do we have? Let's search up from here to a break. That's a break, and then then I'm outside my function. So this is the only break, and what I should do is run over the remaining shader resources to see if there is any with, well, that is a frame resource, sorry, that has, yeah, is a frame resource. It sounds a bit weird, but yeah. And that's kind of difficult to do because I'm not having an iterator nor a index. So maybe I should run over that using. Let's use a iterator. So yeah, I don't think I need to keep these comments, right? That is not really. So I want to run over this by iterator. Well, this thing here returns not something that I have in a using. It returns that, and then the iterator thereof. Now I can use auto. So we're going to do auto shader resource. Call it ether in this case. Begin shader resource ether is unequal and plus a shader resource ether. And then we'll just make a shader resource out of that. Yeah, either that or the iterator can be used as a pointer, but now I cannot. That would be a pointer. That's mean it dereferences to a pointer, so that's not nice syntax. I'll just do it like this. And now when I get to the break, I want to finish this loop. And then do whatever is necessary to get this is shader resource set, which is fairly simple. That's just this thing here. So while this boolean is still false, well, I already did this one, right? Then it should start with a plus plus, so I can do a do, or maybe a while. No, let's do a while. While this thing is false, set it to true. Well, and I might as well immediately stop after this, so I might as well make it a break here. But otherwise, I can increment it. And then continue at top. Yeah, it still looks a bit silly. Now also already did this thing. Man, wat ben ik aan het klungelen. I just want to start with an increment, and then while this is not true and this is not true, and then increment it again at the end. Optimistically, he ran it immediately in the debugger. Oh, still the same error. What? What? Nothing changed. Oh, that's strange. I put an assert here, but this should not happen at all if you don't have a frame resource in this application. And where did we stop? Yep, we stopped there. Okay. So I guess set index is 0. And shader resource per set index has 2 elements. Length 2, capacity 2. And I did print those as well. Yep. The first one is sample texture. Mutex already locked. Okay. Core dump is in thread pool 01. Sample texture, and then we do mutex acquired, not in progress. Setting have match to false because still have match is false. Adding set index 0 to set index is because have match is false. What? Well, I want to see and print this. And it does. Setting have match to false because still have match is false. No, because it doesn't exist. It's not printing, does not exist. But either has to... Oh, don't tell me. This debug channel is turned off. I'm just going to start the debugger here, but I don't know, that last time it didn't work, did it? I don't think it worked. So let's try it. And see the resource is on. So weird. Yeah, I don't think I get there. At least I don't even see an attempt to start a debugger. I so do not understand what is going on. Is this being printed? Core dump happens in threadpool 03. Let's just, yeah, what the... Core dump happens in threadpool 02. Running over 0 descriptor sets. What the hell is going on here? thought set index was 0 when this happened. No, it is 1. Sample texture is okay. In 1 now. Grease condition, I guess. So it is printing shader resource equals after that. Okay, that's this line. That is sample texture. Prints binding is 1. That is here. And then we get here shader resource corresponds with, and set layout binding is, just a repeat. And then we get entering log set layout binding. It's this call. Mutex acquired, so that should return true, which causes in progress to be false. Well, this is true. Have log is false. In progress was false. Not in progress, right? Yep. Skip that. Then we increment the number of shader resources to 1. Still have match set to false, and then we'll take the lock on that thing there. And we do a search, and then it has to print or this or this. And it prints found set mutex and set handles for. Prints this. But okay, I mean, then we still don't break out of this loop. But the fact that there is no descriptors in it is basically equal to if we do not find it. Running over 0 descriptor sets. We get here, if not still have match, break. That is the break that I meant. I think I'm just looking at the wrong break. What the hell does this break do? This break breaks out of this for loop. Breaks out of the same thing as this one. So I have 2 breaks. Next shader resource for the set index. Yeah, we have 2 breaks. So boring. So does have matches false and then calls break. And the other break that also have matches false. Cannot really rely on that, I guess. I just want to have this shader resource iter still available. That's what I want to iterate over, right? The code is even wrong. Should use iterator here, not not the shader resource. Oh boy. But okay, let's delete it there anyway. I should do something like it, I think, after leaving the for loop. But then I might get out of the loop while this is already false. So in that case I have to check that first. Oh well. Let's just do this twice. Already did this one, but that should work. So now it feels like a for loop again. And actually, you only need to do that if we use it right. So now shader resource ether should still be defined outside the loop, which it currently is not. So I'll just to put it outside, whatever. Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, now we get the other way around. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, probably should have combined that standard vector boolean with the set index is 1. I'm just gonna make it a standard pair. not going to work. How could we do this again? Do you think it is working? Sure. Yeah, well, okay, whatever. There was a function, I think, I don't know. Let's just compile it and see what new I did screw up this time. No matching function for call to allocate descriptor sets. Standard pair. I guess I did not update the header file. That would be logical device. Allocate descriptor set. Nope. This is not the header file, just did not change it at all. for yeah, I confused the iterator of a map with a vector. This should be a second. Did I do that again somewhere? Still the long error. Really? Yeah. That is standard. Oh. Oh. Or not. What is there? Frame resource index and then descriptor set layout. Yeah, no, this is nonsense. And then I have an empty thing. And what? It's a vector with these things. Comma. Descriptor set index. That was debug only. Passing nothing. I was passing nothing. Set index, set index, set index, set index. Okay. I think I vaguely remember why that is. Anyway, this is gone. This is empty. This is no longer debug only. And then this would be the constructor of a pair, if that works. I doubt that. So really not used at all for no frame resource support required for textures. Yeah, well, I don't think so. Let's make a pair of nothing and false. Pass that as a vector. Yeah, really. Nope. Doesn't want to. No mention function for call to make pair. Candidates standard pair templates. Choose template T1. I don't know. There's must be a way to pass the default constructed set index, but I forgot. Might as well tell it that it is a set index. But nobody knows what set index, so if I do it like this, it's going to be undefined, which is fine by me. So it shouldn't use it. Namespace vulkan. It's a descriptor. Well, it's a pretty amazing, I think, that IMQ works. Validation errors. Right, well, and so on and so on. I'm going to eat, guys. It's way past dinner time again. Krishna Ramashima asks something, which answer is yes, it is available. But I wasn't looking at chat, so you probably left, right?